first game that hasn't happened yet. We've got Colts Jags.
Colts Jaguars. We both picked Colts to win this game. Like I said, with Michael Pittman, with Jonathan Taylor, with Matt Ryan leading that offense, they should have been able to shake off whatever that was from the Texans game and put up a much better standing against this Jacksonville, who still looks like they have a few problems to address.
Yeah, I think it could potentially end up being a very competitive game, but I just think Indy, more experience, more talent across the board, should win that game.
Like if you look at individual pieces, who's the better quarterback, Matt Ryan or Trevor Lawrence? Matt Ryan's definitely more experienced. He's got that tenure. Who's the better running back? Is it Jonathan Taylor or is it James Robinson? Who's your better wide receiver one? Is it Michael Pittman? Is it Christian Kirk? There's just, if you look position by position, the Colts just have the better team on paper, which we know that's not always the case, but that's why we're picking the Colts.
All right, the first one where we disagree is Jets-Browns.
Jets-Browns. So I have been defending the Jets for really no good reason because I'm a Patriots fan. So I'm not really sure where this is all coming from, but I just like the way the Jets have handled their offseason. I like their quarterback situation because even with Joe Flacco being Joe Flacco, he still put up just as good a game, if not better, than what Lamar had statistically. Anyway, Lamar's got the higher talent cap. Well, I'm not gonna argue about that. But if you just look at his numbers, Joe Flacco performed adequately. If he had to throw too much, but Jacoby Brissett had a terrible first showing as the Browns starter in Week 1. So I'm looking at the two side by side. Yes, the Browns have a scary defensive front, and the Jets are going to struggle with that. But because the Jets are going to struggle, that leaves the secondary open for these new receivers. Garrett Wilson's looking great for the Jets. Looks like a fantastic pickup. So I'm excited to see what the receivers are going to do against this Browns team.
That's fair. The reason why I disagree is primarily, one, I believe that the Jets, the big situations they struggled, were picking up first downs consistently. Lots of 3-and-outs, lots of just drives that didn't get past the 50-yard line.
They did really good on fourth downs against the Ravens, though.
That is true. They did get a couple conversions there. But here's the thing. One of the backbone, like I said earlier, of the Browns is that running game. They'll hold on to that ball and they will run it down the Jets' throat, and I just don't see them slowing them down enough. And if the Jets, like last week, have a couple of drives that falter, I think it's over. I think the Browns defense is just too much for a offense that is promising but young and also missing Zach Wilson. So
it's going to look a lot like the BYU Oregon game.
Too soon.
Too soon.
Too soon. All right. Moving on to our next one. Another one where we disagree.
Steelers versus the Patriots in whatever Heinz Field is known as these days.
Yeah. Whatever weird new name it has. So I'm going with the Steelers. The Steelers shocked me last week against the Bengals. I did not expect their well, here's the thing. I knew their defense was going to be good this year. They were the number one defense in the NFL last year. I expect that to carry over. I did not expect the offense to be as explosive as it was. Obviously, it was a super close game. So I think if Joe Burrow had played a more complete game, this game wouldn't have been close.
Absolutely.
And no offense to the Patriots with the slow start they had, I feel like this is a pretty even matchup. And right now with Belichick, I'm not really sure if I can trust him right now. And Mike Tomlin, he's never had a season below 500. The team looks good. Defense looks strong. Patriots couldn't get much points on the board. So I'm going Steelers.
So the thing about the Steelers from last week is the Bengals had 5 total turnovers and the Steelers took 17 points off of those turnovers. The Bengals actually had 0 points off turnovers for that game. So of your 23 points that the Steelers scored, 17 of them were from turnovers. And then that left during regulation only 3 points left on the board. Without those turnovers, the offense didn't get a lot done. The Patriots are going to be a lot more reserved. They're not going to give up those types of that level of turnover that Joe Burrow accidentally did. Is Mac going to throw a few picks? Yeah, probably. Yeah. He's probably going to have at least one turnover. But the Patriots have one of the best O-lines in the league. TJ Watt's out with torn pec. That D-line is just not going to be as strong without him.
Do they still have Cameron Hayward?
They should. So they still have one key piece over there. But, TJ Watt was your defensive player of the year. He was one of the anchors of that edge. So with your top-rated O-line now being able to adjust to only one person they have to deal with rather than two, that will give Mac a lot more time to work with. And then we just have the secondary. Pats can squeak it out, just like they always do in Hines.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting because Cameron Hayward is going to be lining up against the rookie Cole Strange.
Mm-hmm.
So
we'll see how Cole does. He might have to get doubled every now and then. Cole might need some backup. But...
And probably not every play, but we're going to see it a couple times, so it'll be interesting. Yet again, another game where we disagree, an NFC South matchup. We got Saints-Bucks.
Saints taking on the Bucks in their home stadium in New Orleans. Buccaneers have struggled. Tom Brady has just not played well against this team. But I trust Tom. I don't bet against him.
It's fair. Fair point. Don't be like me. Don't root against the GOAT. I'm going with the Saints simply because, one, he has struggled against this team. Two, it's going to be in New Orleans. That place is going to be rocking.
Absolutely.
Also, I just think, the Buccaneers need that time to mesh a little bit more. They had a really slow start. Only one touchdown. New Orleans was able to score with Taysom Hill. Here's the thing. Definitely, they're not facing Atlanta this week. It's going to be that defense is going to face a much more difficult test. But I feel like New Orleans offense is going to be able to play better against the Buccaneers defense in the past because the Buccaneers defense has lost.
Right. You get those week one woes out of the way. Your team should be able to look a little stronger for it. That should apply to both teams. I would like to think. I mean, I've been wrong on this before, but I like the Bucs offense just has more going for me than the Saints offense does. So it really does come back down to whose defense is gonna be stronger at the end.
Yeah, and this is a divisional matchup.
Could go either way.
Crazy things can happen, but yeah. So now finally getting back to a game where we agree.
The Lions taking on the Commanders in Detroit.
Yeah.
I was really impressed by how the Lions handled the Eagles, especially since the Eagles defense is supposed to be one of those that we're looking forward to seeing as one of the better defenses in the league. And the Lions have just been handling great. They almost came back to handle Philadelphia in that shootout. And, Washington struggled for most of that game against the Jaguars. I see the Lions as having the edge over the Jaguars. I like the Lions in this matchup.
Yeah, honestly, just the energy that they have. Last year they were competitive in a lot of games, just had a lot of unfortunate losses.
That's true.
And they had a phenomenal draft. The team looks improved. It looks like it's meshing better together. I just think there's the Detroit Lions, they're on the up. They're trending upwards.
They're moving in the right direction.
And I think Washington's more of a stagnant team. I don't think they really improved much over last year. And so, Dawson's a good pick for them.
Absolutely. That was weird. I thought he was going to be a bit of a reach, but he's
been playing really well. But I just think at the end of the day, you've got too many playmakers coming out of the woodwork in Detroit. Yeah. And I just see them winning this game. And that place is also going to be rocking.
Absolutely. And, just changing your name from football team to Commanders, it's not enough to solve all your problems.
Yeah, that franchise got a lot of issues.
Ooh, man, a lot of baggage to deal with. Now we got a fun matchup coming up. The Baltimore Ravens hosting the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, this one's definitely... Oh, no, we skipped the Giants.
We always skip the Giants.
We're not today. We got Giants-Panthers. Yeah, which we both agree the Giants are probably going to win this game. One, because the Panthers lost a game to a passing attack that was atrocious.
Very underwhelming Browns offense.
Yeah, the running game was good. Passing game was non-existent. The Giants obviously knocking off the Tennessee Titans. I just think it's a more complete team, a more dominant team. Saquon probably is going to give that defense fits all game.
Absolutely.
If he repeats what he did last week. And I just don't see Baker and that offense really... I don't know. The Giants the past couple of years, their best side of the ball has been defense.
Yeah.
And so I just don't see him really taking advantage of that, at this point.
And credit to the Giants defense, they very effectively contained Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
And now you're asking him to do pretty much the same thing against Christian McCaffrey. I think they do it. I think they step up in a big way, and this defense wins the game.
And, comparing the Titans O-line to the Panthers O-line, it's not even close. I just don't think that O-line's going to be able to hold the defensive front the Giants got.
Now moving on to the game that I was too overeager to talk about. Baltimore Ravens, Miami Dolphins. Who you got?
I'm picking Baltimore. I just think they have way too many ways to attack.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have too many playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. The defense looks much improved. That Jets game, there were some mistakes, but I think against the Dolphins, who do also look very improved. This should be a close game, I think.
Should be a fun one to watch.
I just think when I look at the offenses here, both of them are explosive, but I feel like the Dolphins' offense is just very one-dimensional.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Ravens, no matter what the Dolphins send at them, they're gonna have an answer. So I'm going Ravens.
Absolutely, I'm picking the Dolphins here. I think I've picked every AFC East team to win this week. So go team, I guess.
I guess to make you feel better about your division, how good your team is.
I guess, yeah. It's like, oh, we lost to a good team. Who cares? But the Dolphins here, I'm not going to overhype the Tua Tyreek duo here. I think there's still a lot of room for improvement, especially with the way the overall balance is going to be between the run game and the pass game. Right now, it feels like they're really stuck on that pass game. They don't quite have everything they need at running back. So it's going to be a high-flying offense. They're going to do a lot of passing. They're going to do a lot of over-the-middle stuff, a lot of outside to get to Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill just has a way of getting open. And even if Tua has to settle for these 7-8 yard checkdowns each time, take it. They win the game by being dedicated. Mike McDaniel, he seemed to have the Patriots under control. I think he'll have the Ravens under control.
That's a fair point. Now we go to our row, which we agree on. Starting with the afternoon games here, we got the 49ers at the Seahawks. I think the 49ers bounce back from the loss in Chicago. Mm-hmm. This is still a team that was in the NFC Championship game last year, and the Seahawks beat a not really well-managed Broncos team. And I think the defense that they're going to face, that the Seahawks are going to face in San Francisco, is just going to be way more explosive.
Absolutely.
Going to make way more plays.
They get that home crowd back. Weather forecast says they might get some of the same types of storms they saw in Chicago, which should make this much more exciting. Seattle definitely knows how to play in the rain.
Yeah, I think the storyline, though, is Trey Lance. Because this is kind of the de facto rookie season. He got some action last year, but this is really him getting his feet to the fire for the first time. So it's going to be a divisional matchup, so should be interesting. So it's going to be interesting to see if Trey Lance can do it. I think he does. He's
outside Trey Lance, I just think the 49ers are the more complete team.
That's fair.
They have the defensive pieces. They've got the receivers in place. Obviously, we got Tyler Lockett, we got DK Metcalf, so those receivers could clearly go toe-to-toe with anything the 49ers could throw at them. But I just think the 49ers are the more complete team.
Fair. Next team we agree on, also out of the NFC West, is the Rams versus the Falcons. I'm just really hoping the Rams don't disappoint me again.
And Falcons fans, I'm sure, are looking forward to the Falcons not disappointing them again.
I like the Falcons. I think they're an improving team, but I think the Rams, they're the reigning champions. They still got a phenomenal roster. And the Falcons' defense isn't spectacular. And, if Matthew Stafford can rein in his game better than it was last week, I just think the Falcons are just not going to be able to keep up.
I like the Rams in this game. I think, coming off that Super Bowl hangover, they took their aspirin, they drank their Gatorade, they're ready. They saw their mistakes, and they're ready to take advantage of a team that's not quite as ready. I mean, come on, the Buffalo Bills, they're looking like one of the top teams in the league, if not the top team in the league right now. So, yeah, they got manhandled a little bit in that second half. That's what happens. But, they've learned a few things. They're figuring a few things out at receiver, and they're going to come out swinging. They're going to take this one.
All right. So moving on down the list, we got the Bengals facing the Cowboys. Now, I'm not going to lie. I don't feel super sure about this pick right now.
Cooper Rush for MVP.
Yeah. That post I saw today.
That was funny. That's a good one.
Yeah, I saw a post where it said Cooper Rush would be the next Tom Brady. Cowboys fans, you're an interesting bunch.
Looking a little desperate there.
But I'm going to go with the Bengals simply due to the fact that Dak Prescott is out.
Mm-hmm.
And also that I don't think Joe Burrow is going to throw 5 interceptions again. So
no, but Trayvon Diggs is going to come up with one.
That's your pick?
That's my happen? Look, he didn't get any against Tom Brady.
That's fair.
He's a little desperate. He's going to find a way to snag one off Joe Burrow. But Joe Burrow will still win the game.
Fair. Yeah, it's just a more complete team, I think, as well. So
they're just not going to have a lot of answers for Jamar Chase or for Joe Mixon, really. And I just think, look, I'm still concerned about the Bengals O-line. Joe Burrow is still going to get sacked way too many times, but they'll still win this game.
Yeah. But moving on, we've got the Raiders playing the Cardinals. The Cardinals looked abysmal. I'll just be blunt.
They managed to put up three touchdowns, but you could almost tell the Chiefs were like, okay, yeah, we'll give you this one. Have fun.
Yeah, it's like a college game where you put in the freshmen. It wasn't competitive for most of the game. The scoreline's a bit deceiving.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I believe, call me a believer, I just believe that college connection between Derek Carr and Devontae Adams, it will pop this season at some point. I'm hoping it's this week. It should be exciting if it does. And also, the Cardinals defense was just an absolute abysmal.
It was a joke.
And I think with how many weapons the Raiders have, you got
Absolutely.
Waller, you got Carr, you got
Hunter Renfrow. You got Josh Jacobs in the backfield. Like you're doing good. And don't get me wrong, I picked the Raiders too. I'm a little bit more skeptical. I'm trying to tone back the Devontae Derek hype train there. Don't get me wrong, they're going to be fantastic. They're not going to be this explosive. I don't think we're going to hear a lot of storylines like we did with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. But they are still going to lead the league. They're going to do wonders together. They definitely take the win here.
Sweet. Now, this is probably my boldest pick of the week. I'm going the Houston Texans over the Denver Broncos.
Although, if we get the same Broncos we had from last week against the same Texans we had from this week, your pick might not be too bold.
That is fair. I just think the Texans, they held their ground. They, this is a roster that is very depleted, unfortunately. But, they put up a fight. And the Broncos weren't that, impressive to me in their week 1 loss, excuse me.
We just thought they'd win.
And so if they bring that same fight to this game, I think they can win it.
And Davis Mills has definitely been fighting to prove that he is the Texans starter going forward. Like he actually had a very impressive rookie season, which was overshadowed by pretty much all the other rookie quarterbacks from that class. Not a lot of talk and attention was given to him, but he played really well that back half of the season. And he's showing us that he's going to keep putting up that fight. He wants to be this Texans starter. I still give it to the Denver Broncos overall. I think that even with the improvements the Texans are making, the Broncos have the better roster. I'm hoping I'm not wrong this time, but I just think Russell Wilson and this team with more time to connect, I think they're going to have a lot more chemistry together, and they're going to come against a Houston defense that isn't the most inspiring. And I do think the Broncos take it. This game's going to be a lot closer than it should be, but I think the Broncos take the edge.
We'll see. We'll see who's right.
We will definitely see.
Now, the last 3 here, we agree. We got Sunday night, Packers-Bears. Go, Pack, go.
Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears. That's just how it is. Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears.
Don't get me wrong. I think every team in the NFC North is improving. I think this is going to be way more competitive. It's not going to be as easy of a cakewalk, but I think Aaron Rodgers, he just likes proving people wrong. And so I think after some of the smack talk he's going to get, Bears beware.
Aaron Rodgers is the ultimate contrarian. Like, he almost seems like he does things purely out of spite.
Yeah.
Like, he probably could have retired, but chose not to out of spite. He probably could have settled down with Shailene, but didn't out of spite. Like, like, that's just the kind of guy he seems to be. Like, is he going to beat these Bears just out of spite? Absolutely he will. In fact, he might very well go to an NFC Championship just to spite Tom Brady, who came out of retirement for one more ring. It's possible.
It is possible.
If there's a motive for Aaron Rodgers doing it, it's going to be to spite Tom Brady. That's what the way I see it right now.
All right, moving on to the first of two Monday night matchups.
The return of the Monday night doubleheader.
Yeah. Where you got Bills-Titans. For me, this isn't even close. I think the Bills are the best team in the NFL right now.
If we get that same Titans team that struggled against the Giants, what are they going to do against the other New York team?
Yeah.
I mean, the other New York team.
You know, the Bills just look too dominant right now. I just don't see even if we had the Tennessee team from last year, I just think Josh Allen would absolutely carve that secondary. And honestly, that their defense with Von Miller, Rousseau, still looking solid. I think they'll get some stops. And for me, this is just no-brainer Bills.
You know, with that receiver, you've got Stephon Diggs, you've got Isaiah McKenzie, you've got Gabe Davis, you got Jamison Crowder, and then I was confident in that receiving room. I had a lot of questions going into the offseason about how their run game was, because I didn't think Devin Singletary or Zach Moss was really going to do a lot. Maybe that's because they just didn't do well for me on my fantasy team. But Devin Singletary proved me wrong in a big way in week 1. He dominated the Rams' defensive front. And this is just a much more complete team than I was expecting to see, even with what I knew we were already going to get. This Titans, they're struggling. They're struggling hard, and if they don't get their act together, they're going to get seriously demolished in this game.
Yep. And then we move to the second Monday night game. We got Minnesota
And
Eagles. Yeah.
I liked the way the Vikings handled the Packers. Look, I get it. We talked about how this was Aaron Rodgers' other bye week.
Yeah.
Where he just didn't really show up to play. But even still, the Minnesota offense looked really good against that Green Bay defense. Yeah. Kirk Cousins, probably not going to win any MVP nominations this year, but he's definitely going to lead these teams in a good direction. He and, Justin Jefferson looks like he's primed for a breakout season. He's ready to take on Cooper Kupp for that Triple Crown title. This is just going to be a good, high-flying match. This could end up being a shootout.
Yeah, that's true. For me, I just don't trust the Eagles' offense. And here's the thing. They should have played much better with what they had. You've got... oh my gosh, I'm blanking on names right now. You're better.
Well, you got AJ Brown.
You got AJ Brown.
You got Foreman. You've got a lot of pieces in play.
Yeah.
You've got Goddard as your tight end on the outside. Like you have the
Devontae Smith.
You got Devontae Smith. You got these pieces in play, but for whatever reason they just couldn't really capitalize with it.
Yeah. I just think at the end of the day, the Vikings, that's always been the missing piece, is the defense. And it looked like it started to come together against Green Bay. Philadelphia, the thing that they're lacking is offense, and I haven't seen any glimpse of it this season. So for me, out of the two weaknesses, the Eagles' weakness is much stronger.
The Eagles definitely have flashes. Like, A.J. Brown put up 150 yards of their total offense. So, clearly that they've got some of that Jalen to Brown connection. But is it going to be enough? Probably not. I still say Minnesota takes it.
Yep. So we'll see how this week goes. Man, football's been crazy. Here, both college and the pros have been quite.
Everyone pray for your favorite kicker. They're going to need it.
They're going to need it, yeah. Poor kickers.
Oh, man. But those are our picks for the week. Let us know if you agree, disagree. Tell us why. We're happy to hear it. Yeah. I'm definitely not happy to change my picks anymore, but maybe next time.
All right, we'll see you later.